Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
Good evening, everybody. To all our listeners, our viewers, I'm so pleased to introduce to you Coach KB, the creative force behind Ready to Live Soap Therapy, a sensory experience where mental wellness meets creativity most unexpectedly. Coach KB, welcome. How are you doing?
I am doing outstanding. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. It's so great to have you here. So I just told you a couple seconds ago, I'm so excited to explore this. I think this is such a cool and creative way to approach mental wellness, mental wellness and mental health, which can be such a taboo topic sometimes.
Yes.
Would you like to start us off by telling our listeners more into first how you got into soap therapy and how that helps the communities in particular who find it hard to talk about or approach mental wellness?
Yes, absolutely. So first and foremost, thank you for having me on. I greatly appreciate it. Yes, I am Coach KB, the founder and CEO of Ready to Live Soap Therapy. And ultimately, our mission is to really help people heal, distress, and really reconnect with themselves and their creativity through a unique approach that I call soap therapy. Now, how I got into soap therapy, I come from 20 years of talent acquisition. That was what I did for a long time. So I've always been in a space to where I was helping individuals. And so during the pandemic, when most people were losing jobs, I didn't. I gained 2 six-figure roles, making the most money I've ever made in my life. And then after 2 years, 1 week, I lost both jobs. And I went through a really tragic, horrible depression. And so one day I'm on LinkedIn applying for another job, and my husband says, take a break. Now I'm on there applying, crying my eyes out, just sad, right? And, just in a just deep, dark depression. He says, take a break. He said, why don't you go downstairs and play with your soap making stuff? And I'm like, what soap making stuff? Because a year prior, I had brought all these supplies because I wanted to learn how to make soap. And I did what most of us do, put it in my attic and never thought about it again, right? So, reluctantly, I dragged my feet downstairs. I went on YouTube University. You know that school is free of charge. And I learned how to make soap. But within that hour, I felt grounded. I had a level of calm come over me. And I was like, what is this? I started doing research and I came across what was called creative therapy and art therapy. And I said, I really never heard of that before, right? Now, one of my best friends is a therapist. So I called her up and was like, why don't I ever hear about this? And she said, people that are in our community is not into that. And I knew at that moment that I was going to be that change maker. Now, mind you, I'm an 11-year certified mindset coach. So I've worked with so many different people, but creativity never crossed my mind as therapeutic. So when all this happened, just so many light bulbs went off. That was in November of 2022. Since then, we have served over 1,500 guests. We had a chance of being on Good Morning America, July of last year, and we have just been growing. But our ultimate mission is we like to tell people it's so much more than just making soap. It is a powerful sensory experience that combines art therapy, mindfulness, and coaching to create moments of peace, joy, healing. And it's a safe space. A lot of us do not know we're dealing with depression. A lot of us don't know, or if we do know, we hide it, right? And so we're debunking the stigma against therapy.
That's really powerful what you just said. Yeah, a lot of us don't know.
No.
We just go day to day, in and out, routine. Just don't have the time to even stop and think what is going on inside. That is such a wonderful way of putting it. And I I really find that doing things with your hands
Yes.
and producing something, that has always helped me
Yes.
with mental health. And I think the soap therapy experience in particular looks just so much fun as well.
Yes.
Just in particularly, I love these things. I love to create things at home, make things from
Yes.
scratch. You know, the whole naturopathy sort of thing.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about the soap therapy experience? What happens
Absolutely.
inside? What can people expect from it?
So again, like I say, this is a safe space, right? And so when you're coming in, you're initially, when you come in, you're getting greeted as family. So everyone who comes into our studio, they will know that they are cousins. So, hey, cousins, how are you? But you're coming in as family. And, you know, because I do know how it is firsthand to feel stuck and overwhelmed, sometimes you do not want to show that. So, soap therapy is a 3-step process. Step 1, you get a chance to release. We do a couple of different exercises that get you open up. First and foremost, I share my story to kind of get that veil down, to get that guard down. When you hear someone else's vulnerability, you feel like, okay, well, then I can share mine too, right? So I initially start with my story. Number 2, I have everyone to do an introduction. They say who they are, where they're from, what do they do, what are they looking to release, and what is their creative gift. Now we're getting a chance to be able to work hand in hand with the group, right? And then step 2, in the releasing, you're going to do what we call mirror work. We have small mirrors in front of each person, and they have to talk to themselves and say, what is one thing you love about yourself or you're proud of yourself? And, you know, for an example, hi, I'm Coach KB. I'm proud that I'm able to overcome obstacles, you know, whatever that is. And then from there, you are asked 5 questions, and each 5 questions are related to a color, a scent, or a shape. So, you know, I would say, hey, you know, what is one of your favorite childhood memories, and what scent does that make you think of? Now you're actually getting a chance to start thinking about nostalgia. And all of this process is to get you to release your dopamine and your serotonin, which naturally calms yourself down, right? Step 2 is a sensory overload. You're smelling, you're tasting, you're using all of your senses. And as you do know, that does release more dopamine and serotonin. And then step 3 is a sense of accomplishment. When I tell you, one of the favorite parts of soap therapy is watching the individuals put their love, their energy inside of this soap that they made. And they're so proud of what they made, the smiles. Some of the roughest, hardest men come in there, and when they reveal their soap, they're happy, they're smiling, they're cheesing. But what that does is it helps you with self-confidence, self-love, and you feel so proud of yourself. The one thing that we say in soap therapy is, while you're in this session, we're going to brag on yourself, and we're going to make you feel comfortable to celebrate your wins. We do not celebrate our wins. We'll celebrate each other's win. We'll say, oh, my best friend is great. But it's really hard for us to celebrate ourselves. And so that is what we're changing while you're in soap therapy.
Wow, that is such a great place to be, to put oneself in. I'm curious to know, do the people who go to the experience, are they like, do they self-refer themselves? Do they find you and say, this is for me? Or is it usually a family member who says, I think this would be great for you? What kind of people do you usually see coming through the door?
Yeah, so we get a wide range of people. We get people who are honestly, you know, hey, I wanted to learn how to make soap. I saw this. I thought it was cool. You know, I did not know I was going to get all of that, right? Or we get people who say, you know, hey, you know, I was feeling down and I thought this would be a great way to uplift me. Or we get people, like you said, family members who thought this would be a great bonding experience. So we get so many ranges of people. We get people who come and travel and say, hey, I saw you on Good Morning America, and I thought this was really cool. So I wanted to come and experience that, because of the fact that, you know, hey, I live in Wisconsin. I don't have that there, you know, or I'm here. So our range of individuals. But on the flip side of that, that's coming into our studio. We also do team building and corporate wellness. So we're able, right now, the world is in a very sad state. A lot of people are feeling overwhelmed. A lot of people are having burnout. it's a lot of stress in the corporate space. And so you're not going to get your CEO coming to his team and saying, you know, guys, I'm stressed out today. I don't know what to do. He's never going to admit that. And so I'm able to come in and be able to reveal that veil that we all carry, that mask that we wear, and be able to allow everyone to be themselves. And so I work with a wide range. When I first started this, my goal was to work with underserved communities, marginalized communities, because they don't have opportunities to, either they can't afford therapy, it's not accessible, or they have a stigma against therapy. And so when you take all those points, I have a wide range of people that I work with.
Wow. It must be at the same time humbling, but also so amazing to witness so many people come from different spaces and different backgrounds and all come together. I mean, I guess a little bit, unfortunately, because we deal with these issues and mental illness, and not having the tools to be able to deal with that. But at the same, on the flip side, you've created such a beautiful space and such a great experience to bring people together and overcome that.
Absolutely.
And my next question for you actually is, I'm curious to know if there's a particular story or if there's a particular, you know, experience or someone who pops into your mind during one of those experiences.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom, because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video, because that chat might just change your life.
That I have so many of them. You know, I will give you two little mini ones that I have. One would be a veteran that came into my experience, and he came as a group. It was a group of individuals that came. He just came. He didn't know. He was a guy. He was just like, you know, I'm here. My friends invited me. I just wanted to come, and he said that he never had an opportunity. He rarely speaks up in front of people. And while he was there, he just felt the need to want to speak. And he actually shed some tears in front of people. And he kept apologizing. And I said, it's okay. This is a safe space. But the fact that he had the accessibility and freedom to be able to just share his mission, share who he is, and be able to talk about his pain. You know, he was just one individual, but I get so many of those. People always say, this is the one thing that I hear so much. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm crying. I can't believe I'm feeling these emotions, because we bottle it up so much. And we think we have a safe space at home or at work or with our friends, but we still only give a portion of ourselves when we're in those environments. When you're really told that, hey, when you come in here, shed that layer, cut that superhero cape, and just be yourself and just breathe it out, you will find that people share. Even my children that I work with, I go to the Boys and Girls Club, and people always say, oh, kids don't have any problems. We give them a chance to talk, and you will find out that those babies have just as much things going on as we do. And so it's really, honestly, incorporating journaling, incorporating mirror work, and incorporating coaching with a therapeutic, with sensory, with a sensory experience. It's going to allow your mind to take hold, and you are going to want to release, and you're going to want to talk. I get so many people that say things like, oh my God, I never talk in front of people, especially strangers, because you have to remember, we keep our classes small. We don't do any more than 8 to 12 people per class, because it is private. But they always say, I don't speak in front of people. Or they'll have things where I had one young lady who actually was like in her 70s. And she said, your story really inspired me. I have been thinking about writing this book, and I just kept putting it off. And she was like, but your story inspired me, and just doing something creative made me say, hey, you know what? I can do this. And so that is what we are, because we force you, and I say force very, very strongly, we force you to talk about what it is you really love to do. What is it that makes you happy? What is your therapy? Because creativity is in everybody. And like we always say, you have one of three things you tell yourself. Number one, you say, I'm not creative. It's just not me. That's not who I am. Or number two, you tell yourself, I'm creative, but I don't have time to be creative. I'm a mom, I'm a dad, I'm a worker. Or number three, you're actually living in your creative gift. And if that is you, congratulations, because creativity is in all of us. We just mask it, right? And so that is what we pull out of you.
That is so, so, so true. Those three things you said. It's always, oh, I just wasn't born with it. So and so is. He's creative. He's always been creative. He can do X, Y, Z. It's just not me. It just happens so often, doesn't it? So how did you find your clientele, and how do you attract your clients to come through? Is it mostly through social media? Is it through a website? Is it word of mouth? What do you find is the most effective method or medium of acquiring this audience, this clientele that comes back?
So a lot of it, of course, is social media, getting out there. A lot of it is once someone happens to come randomly, word of mouth. So it's a combination of the two, but I would probably say social media is our number one. And we still have, we are on a lot of travel sites. We're on like Viator, we're on Airbnb. And so we do get 60% of our clientele is actually travelers, which we love, but we also do not love because we are missing the city that we're actually in. And we wanted to kind of flip those numbers. But that's about us. We're out there in more communities. We're really out there in the street, and people don't really know they need us until they come into our sessions. And so that's why the word of mouth works for us so greatly. All of our corporate wellness, it did not come from us going out there, calling them, saying, hey, this is what we have. It was someone who actually came to an experience, loved it, told their company about it, and that's how we end up getting into the corporate wellness space. I wasn't even thinking about corporate wellness, but it found me because of the fact that people found the benefit of it when they came.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like that's a whole other world that you uncover when you go into corporate, because like you're saying, dealing with mental illness and burnout in particular is just so prevalent in large corporations. And nowadays, CEOs and business owners really want to do something for their teams. And that's another great way of doing so.
Yes.
How important would you say, on a scale of 1 to 10, I know you've said social media is a big impact, but just on a scale of 1 to 10, just to share with our listeners, how important it is to put yourself out there on social media and talk about your business and talk about the impact you have on your community, and perhaps really reaching out to that person on the other end of the screen, because they perhaps could be, part of this community.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, I would tell any business owner or any coach or anyone that has something, use your story. Your story is your superpower. So you have to put yourself out there. You have to, especially if your business or your brand is involving you or involving your story or involving some way, shape or form of helping the community or helping someone. You have to be able to show that those benefits. You cannot assume that it's just going to happen strictly from Google or strictly from your website. You have to be able to show them the benefits of it. For me, people still can't compute like what soap making, therapy, how do they come together? So you have to show them. And social media is a great platform to do that. But I would add on that, don't be afraid to tell your story. Don't be afraid to allow people to resonate with you and be able to be like, Oh, well, if she did, I can do it too. Be an inspiration for people. For me, my hardest part was I would tell my story, but people would be like, "Good job, Coach KB," but they wouldn't resonate that story with them, right? And so they'll be like, "Well, I'm glad, she got past that, good job," but not realizing that they're going through the same thing. So I had to learn how to shift that and show them the benefits of what it is that I'm doing. And so I would definitely tell someone that don't be afraid to do that. For me, going live has always been a thorn in my side. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to go live, but it's also gets people out there. So whether you have 0 people, 1 person, that 1 person life can be changed. I'm a mom, so I get it,
right? She needs a cuddle. She's a bit tired.
I know.
So has it always been social media? Did it start off on social media? Is that where you started advertising and talking about soap therapy? And advertising, your offering, your kits, your DIY kits, your corporate partnerships and stuff. Is that where it all began?
Yeah, social media is definitely where it all began. Honestly, Instagram, Facebook, then it grew to my YouTube channel. And then, in December, I started my own podcast to really kind of help get the word out there even more about what it is that I do. But to be honest with you, before I even started soap therapy, I had always been on social media trying to, give back and give people uplift, being a person that will uplift you. Like I said, I come from 20 years in talent acquisition. So I've always been a helper. I'm a mindset coach. So I've always been given that knowledge. And so it wasn't abnormal for people to see me hop on a video, because I did that. So social media definitely was my go-to.
Right. Amazing. Well, I mean, I've seen your profiles and things, and I think it's really amazing what you do. I saw your most recent event was almost like a matchmaking.
Oh yeah,
so
it's coming up actually. Yes.
Okay, that looks
Blind
super
dating
interesting.
soap.
That is
Yes.
really, really cool. Is there anything else in the pipeline for 2025?
Oh yes, again, like I said, we have our blind date and soap that's coming up before Valentine's Day, because of the fact that I get so many of my friends are single and they're like, there are no events for a single, but it's still therapeutic. And what is the best way to meet someone? And you allow me to ask the questions. It takes the pressure off of you, and you get to find out if that's somebody that's really for you. But of course, I mean, all of the major holidays, we go far and beyond for them. Like Valentine's Day, we do something really big for the couples. Every Thursday anyways is date night therapy, where we so every Thursday is couples only, and that's where the shift of therapeutically would be instead of it being for just certain people, it would be for just those couples alone.
That's
So
really
yes.
lovely. That's really, really lovely. Where do you see your business there? What is really your main goal? How big do you really see this growing in your mind?
So we will be in the next 5 years in all of the Southeast states. I know that for a fact. We're going to grow, and there is a need for us. And then eventually in about 10 years, we want to start franchising out, become a franchise, so that other people throughout, the world can get a chance to experience soap therapy. We are trademarked. So, we're the only one. Soap therapy doesn't exist but within us. And so when you have something like this, that it needs to be over the world. But definitely in the next 5 years, we are hoping to expand. We will expand out to at least the Southeast, and then continually growing, and then kind of go into that franchise model so that we can really, really be able to expand to the world.
That is really so awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And one thing I would love to hear from you, and not just myself, our listeners in particular, because like I mentioned earlier, many of our listeners really are starting their businesses and they have big, big, big visions, but they may not be in a place right now to hire the teams and have the marketing agencies, and they kind of have to wear all the hats and do everything. So it's really helpful, and it's not just helpful, but it's inspirational and motivational to see and hear, stories from people like you who have these huge plans in the pipelines, like 5-year plans. We're going to be across all these states. We're going to franchise. What are your action steps to getting that done? Because sometimes it can just feel and sound so overwhelming for someone who's just not there. It's like, I want to be there. I want to be, I want to franchise my own company one day, but how do I even get there? Can you share a bit of knowledge in that space?
I would definitely tell anyone that is looking to make those huge steps is, number one, know your why. Know why you're doing this. If you know your why, that will allow you to have your mission, know your values, and be able to develop a wonderful team. You have to develop a wonderful team. You have to have someone to really, really back you, because at some point, you're going to get to a point that you're going to grow so fast and that you cannot do everything. And that's the one thing as a small business owner, we have a hard time of letting go of our babies, because these are our babies, right? And so we want to wear all the hats, but then you get overwhelmed and then you get burnt out. And then now you're wondering why your business is not being as successful, because you're wearing all the hats. Be able to put yourself in a position to build a foundation to be able. But again, that goes from your why, because a lot of times we don't want to give up our baby because we know the why and we think that someone else is not going to understand the why, right? Our story, why did we start this, things like that. And so if you have a clear vision of your why and who you're serving, then you're able to go out there and build that team around that mission, and then you're able to grow faster. You have to put the right people in place to grow, right? I would say that first and foremost. And then again, don't be afraid. Go out there, sell your business, go out there, be a face, go to networking events. I don't care how many times people tell you, okay, great. And you give your card to and you never hear them again. Keep going, right. keep trying, because one day it's going to pan out. And then I would say another one would be give yourself grace. A lot of times as a small business owner, we're comparing ourselves to corporations that have been in existence for 10, 15 years. They went through the same thing that we're going through right now. So give yourself the grace to develop and grow. We live in such that microwave society that we want everything instant. Allow your business to grow. Allow yourself to make mistakes, because when you make mistakes, you grow, and now you know how to make sure that your business is growing. And then last but not least, know your numbers. You are not going to be able to grow if you do not know your numbers. You have to know your numbers to be successful, because you never know who you're going to meet. You can be somewhere down the street and you're talking about your business, and this is an investor, and then they're asking you questions and you're like, you have to know your numbers, and you have to know what is your value, what is your VP, and so once you know that, I feel like those are the keys to be very successful.
That's great. Thank you so much. Anything a little bit more technical, for example, like the digital stuff, like you need to have a website, like show up. Do you think that, maybe not the statement is not the right word, but when you go on social media and, you're trying to start your own page, you're starting from scratch, people say, just show up, just post, just talk, just show up and just share. Do you think that's accurate?
You know what? Yes. I think you can't. I think if you keep holding back, you have to just go out there and jump out there. That's just like my YouTube channel. I have like 32 followers, right? And 0, and you have to start, right? I don't care if you have like 20 followers on Instagram, that's 20 followers that can share your information that will grow into 40 followers that can keep growing. So no matter what it is, I don't care if you have a phone, you have to just start, right? And stop thinking that you need all this money to actually start as well. I created my website that I still have to this day, that I still get bookings from. I did that myself. And then take the advantage of ChatGPT. Like, we have AI now. Like, Why are we not using AI? Why? That is your personal assistant. If you can't afford a personal assistant, you got ChatGPT. That will be your personal assistant, right? So use the tools that we have. And again, remove the excuses and find a solution. And I promise you, you'll be okay.
That is so great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Last few questions before we go. I would love to hear one small fun thing listeners can do today to feel less stressed or more in control of their mental health. Is there something that they can do right where they're sitting right now at home?
Yes. Something that I know you guys are going to be like, what? Talk to yourself, right? I would tell you what I did when I was going through my really horrible depression. I would sit in front of my mirror and have a conversation with myself and tell myself what are some things that I like about myself and what are some things that I'm proud of myself for. And you will realize that, oh my gosh, like, okay, you will feel a little bit better. Not only scientific wise, you're releasing those dopamine and that serotonin that I'm talking about, because now you are powerfully, those are affirmations to yourself, but you're getting a chance to build that self-confidence and that self-love inside. I don't care who you go to or what you do. If you do not have self-confidence and self-love, it doesn't matter what anybody say, you will not believe it. So you have to build that internal love for yourself first and foremost. Okay. So I will tell you, get in front of a mirror or your phone, whatever, and have a conversation. Hi, Coach KB. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you that you were able to overcome everything. No matter what is being thrown at you, you do it. Have a small conversation with yourself. And then I would say step 2, write down everything that you want to accomplish. And then even if you don't even know what that is, just start journaling, start writing things down, and you'll realize that your brain will start producing and downloading things to you every single day.
Thank you so much. That was that's really good, actually. I expected it to include some sort of soap thing, but I'm glad I'm kind of glad it didn't, because it's something you can do. Literally something you can do right here, right now.
Yes.
And it's something that I do all the time. Like I low-key talk to myself all the time. It's so embarrassing. But I'll be taking my daughter out for a stroll, and I'll particularly always go to the park, because it's just like where people go and walk, right? And take strolls.
Yes.
And I'll just talk to myself and sometimes be angry.
Yes.
It's what happened, or I can't believe this is happening in my life. Like, God, please help me. But I always end up like feeling so much better. And I would like to add that if you're concerned about what people are going to think about you, just pop in some earphones and they'll think you're on a phone call. That has always worked for me, but I've done this for so long that I don't really care anymore.
Yes. It's a great thing when you talk. I don't know why they think that you're crazy when you talk to yourself. That should be the one person that you have the most confidence and that's your safe space. And I would tell them, if you do, like, the park is your safe space. For some other, like for me, my closet is my safe space, so just find a safe space that works for you, that you can have those conversations and don't feel judged.
Absolutely. So I am sure a lot of our listeners are going to be so eager to just learn more about you, about Coach KB, about soap therapy, about everything that you do. Where can people get in touch with you?
Yes, absolutely. So I am, of course, on social media. You can always follow me at Ready to Live Soap Therapy on all platforms. You can always go to our website, www.readytolivesoaps.com, or you can always email me. I love emails, and that's Coach KB at readytolivesoaps.com. I'm very hands-on, so I'm always involved. So if you just want to speak to me or my team, you can always give us a call. But our number is 470-757-3484. We're very accessible. But again, don't be afraid. If you have questions, give us a call. We love to answer questions.
Thank you so much, Coach KB. Thank you for your time. Thank you for that insights and for sharing everything about soap therapy and the experience that is available. If this was available in where I live, I would 100% attend. That is so in my lane. Once again, thank you so much.
Coming soon, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, please, my goodness. I'll travel. I'll be one of the travelers,
right?
And I'll find you on the Airbnb.
Yes.
Get through there. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?